Hello, and welcome to Magic Basics, your introduction to playing Magic the Gathering. Today, we will be going over different types of abilities. There are 4 types of abilities that you will commonly see. These are static, triggered, activated, and evergreen. Static abilities are constantly in effect as long as the card that has it is on the battlefield. Triggered abilities take place whenever a specific event takes place during a game. These abilities will typically start off with the words when, whenever, or at. These abilities trigger automatically whenever the required conditions are met. Activated abilities follow the format of cost and effect, and can be used at will provided that the player who is activating them can pay the activation cost. If the cost is simply paying mana, that ability may be activated any number of times as long as the player has enough mana to do so. If the cost is more restrictive, such as tapping a creature, that ability might only be able to be used once per turn. Evergreen abilities are keyword abilities that will often be seen on creatures, but can be found in all card types. Evergreen abilities are named as such because they are set effects and will not change. There are over 100 evergreen abilities in Magic. However, I will only be going over some of the most common ones. The less common ones will typically have reminder text printed on the cards that have them to remind you what those specific abilities do. Haste is an ability that removes summoning sickness from a creature, allowing that creature to attack and use tapping effects as soon as it enters the battlefield. First Strike is an ability that allows a creature to deal damage before other creatures in combat. So, if a creature with First Strike deals sufficient damage to kill an opposing creature without this ability, it will not suffer any combat damage from that creature in return. Double Strike allows a creature to deal both First Strike and normal combat damage. Death Touch is an ability that causes a creature to be destroyed as a result of having been dealt damage by a source with Death Touch. So for a creature with Death Touch, any non-zero amount of damage it deals to another creature is considered enough to kill it, regardless of how much toughness that other creature may have. Trample allows an attacking creature to assign excess damage above what is needed to kill a blocker to damage the defending player directly. Vigilance makes it so that a creature can attack without the need to tap. Flying creatures cannot be blocked in combat except by other creatures with flying. Reach allows a creature without flying to block a creature with flying. Defender prevents creatures from attacking. Flash allows for spells to be played at instant speed. Hexproof is an ability that can be on permanents or even players. A permanent or player with hexproof cannot be targeted by the spells or abilities of your opponents. Shroud is an ability that can be on permanents or even players, and prevents them from being targeted by all spells and abilities. Protection prevents a permanent or player from being targeted, blocked, or damaged from any and all sources that that permanent or player has protection from. Indestructible permanents cannot be destroyed by effects that say destroy, and lethal damage does not kill indestructible creatures. However, if an indestructible creature has its toughness reduced to 0 by non-damage means, it will still die. Lifelink causes players to gain life based on the damage dealt by sources with lifelink. Regenerate prevents a creature from being destroyed. If a creature with Regenerate would be destroyed, it is instead tapped and removed from combat. Sacrifice is a keyword that implies willingly sending a permanent you control from the battlefield to the graveyard. Scrying allows you to look at a specified number of cards from the top of your library and put them on either the top or bottom of your library in any order. If scrying multiple cards at once, you can mix and match which ones go to the top and which ones go to the bottom of your library. Tap and untap refers to the visual state of a permanent. To tap a permanent, rotate it 90 degrees, and to untap it, simply set it straight again. Counter negates the casting of a spell, or in some cases, the activation of an ability. However, only that unique spell or ability is negated. If another ability were to trigger based on the casting of the spell that is countered, it will still activate.